Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Minecraft series. I went through the trouble of upgrading my mic so the audio quality is a little bit better. Today we're going to be adding a block to the game. Alrighty guys, so to add a block to Minecraft, you have to do two things. You have to create a object for the block, a block class, and you have to register it so that the game knows it exists. For registry, there's two parts to that. We have to register the item individually and the block individually. And in this series we're going to be doing both of those things, so you don't need to worry too much about it. So let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start off by creating a new package inside of our mod. We're going to call that blocks. And now we're going to start by making a little bit of a abstraction to make creating blocks down the line easier. We're going to create a block base class, and this class will extend block, and that is the net Minecraft world level block. It's going to be mad because we haven't created a constructor. Alright guys, so we're going to just do a little bit of renaming here to make things more clear. We're going to add a string type to the constructor, and that'll be our registry name. This will be the name that the game uses to initialize our block. So now that we have our little bit of abstraction, we go ahead and make our block. We just call this test block. This will extend our block base class. And we can go ahead and get rid of these. So we're going to hard code them. We're going to create a properties of material stone, and then our registry name will be test block. One more thing, if you want to add some code into here to do a purposeful check for this, the registry name has to be lowercase, but for simplicity's sake I'm just going to leave that off. There we go. So now we have this set up, we have our test block set up. Now we need to go ahead and do the things we need to register said block. So we're going to create a new enum called, since this is example mod, we're just going to call it em blocks. And in here we're going to create a test parameter, and that's going to take in a new test block. And then this needs a constructor. Create a constructor. We're going to rename this, use our block base class. And then we're going to do a little bit more here. We're going to create a block variable, block base variable, block base. We're going to create a item variable. Item. Go ahead and import this. Import class, Minecraft item. And then we're going to need to set our local or instance variable to our parameter block base. And now we're going to need to create the item from, oh, this is block item. Yep. Block base. Alrighty. So now we're going to need to create our item for later. This dot block item is equal to a new block item of block base with we're going to create some new item properties. You can just leave empty, and then we have to set the registry name of this to the block base's registry name, and then we're going to need to add on to that. We're going to say plus item, because the registry names cannot be the same because they have to be unique. And then just because we're going to make these private and final. So now we're going to need some getters. If you go on your keyboard and you do Alt insert, do some getter, select both of them. Okay, so that gets our block. I'm gonna make that return block. It's gonna get block, and then get item. Now we're gonna need two more methods. These are gonna be used for registering your blocks and items. This is going to be a public block, but this is going to be an array of blocks. And I'm gonna call this get blocks. This is also needs to be static. So now we're going to do a little bit of advanced Java. Actually, I wouldn't call it advanced. This was implemented in Java 8. But we're going to return values. So this is all the values of the enum dot stream. And we're going to, so right now this would be a stream of block bases. We don't necessarily want that. We want to map them to another thing. So we're going to map them, and we're going to call get block on all of them. So it's going to get all the blocks. So now we have an array of blocks, but it's still a stream, so we need to convert it back to an array. We do that by doing toArray, and we give it a block array new. So that's going to give it a new block array to put everything into. And we're pretty much going to want to do the same thing for items. Public static item array get items. This is going to return values dot stream dot map get item dot toArray, and then we're going to do toA item array. Alright, so now that that's all set up, we're good to go there. So now we're going to go ahead and create our registry. That's going to be refactored. That should go in your main, not in your block class or in your block package. And then inside of registry, we're going to make a not Java class called registry. And then we're going to steal some code out of the example they give us. So we're going to use this, and we're going to go into a registry, put that up there. So that's saying that this class is going to contain events, and then we're also going to steal the onBlock registry. So now Forge knows that when it needs blocks, it can call this and it will register all the blocks in our mod. So we're going to just real simply, we're going to go block registry event dot get registry dot register all, because we're going to register all the blocks at once, and we're going to do that by calling emblocks dot get blocks. And now if you were to load up the game like this, you wouldn't be able to get your blocks because there's no item. Like, you could place them in the world, but you couldn't have them in your inventory to place down because the items don't exist. To make the items exist, we're just going to copy paste and change some names. We're going to change this to items registry item, and just refactor some stuff just to make it a little bit more clear. And then instead of get blocks here, we're going to do get items, and do a little bit of that. There we go. Alrighty guys, welcome back. I had some trouble. I had redone the project a little while ago, and I didn't have my runs done, so I went ahead and redid those. And this is an interesting error right here. It has been compiled on a more recent version of Java. This is caused by, in your settings, under build tools, your Gradle is not set to your Java your project SDK. And an interesting fact is my project SDK seems to be incorrect. So we're going to go ahead and fix that right now. Put that up to Coretta 17. It's going to have to re-index everything, so it'll take a second. Now we're going to try to run the game and see what happens. I might come back after it's done loading. Alrighty guys, welcome back. So we're just going to go ahead and load up a simple creative world with Superflat. We're going to use the Redstone Ready because that's the most clean slate for doing modding. and we're going to see what our blocks look like in game. Just as a heads up, the blocks aren't going to look very good because we don't have any models defined for them, but I'll get to that in the next episode of this tutorial series. So the only way to get these right now, because of the way we set them up, is through the give command. So we have to give the player, and there's our test block. And that's our block that we added. It has no model yet, that's why it's got the missing texture, but you know, the block's in the game. It's the first step. Alrighty guys, there's one more thing that I had forgotten to mention, and earlier I had mentioned that it won't be in a creative tab because you need to use the give command because you never set it. Where that is set is in your item.properties. So in item.properties, if you do .tab, you can set your creative tab. So these are all the creative tabs in the game. I like transportation because it's just so empty to begin with. And so with that, it'll make your block item show up in the transportation tab. I'll see you guys in the next episode.